Thank you, Chairman. Chairman, we do have Margaret Wellens tonight, elected our Corporate Director of Children's Services, who's here to answer any technical questions on the education aspect of the proposal that's in front of us today, but I will run through the report and talk to the report. As members are aware, the papers for this item were issued on Friday the 15th of September. Can I first apologise for the late distribution of the report? I would, however, ask members to recognise the nature of the negotiations with the recognised trade unions that have been ongoing in relation to this particular issue. The paper was not issued until the final elements of the proposal were agreed with the unions, so that members were provided with the most accurate information possible. A number of meetings have been held with the recognised trade unions up until late yesterday evening, and officers and the unions have worked hard since the last unison ballot to enable the final offer to be put to members today. The Head of Legal and Democratic Services has responded to queries in relation to the late issue of the report and has confirmed that the process followed was in line with the Constitution. In addition, briefings were offered to group leaders to set out the report details and allow questions. If I can move on now and provide some further details around the report, I do want to spend some time again just going back in terms of this issue, just to bring members right up to speed with the report today. And the background to the issue we are seeking to resolve relates to the equal pay risk that is facing the Council. We must not lose sight of that fact. This is summarised in the report and relates to the terms and conditions on which teaching assistants are employed. The majority of teaching assistants are contracted to work 32.5 hours a week term time, but are paid 37 hours a week full time. I think it's important we remember that's the backdrop to this report. Other council staff employed under the same terms and conditions as teaching assistants work 4.5 hours a week more and approximately 6 weeks a year more to receive the same salary. This position creates an unfairness with the wider council workforce and puts the council at risk of equal pay claims. I can update council that we are now in receipt of over 200 equal pay grievances from across the council that use the teaching assistants' terms and conditions as a comparator. As set out in previous reports, this is a risk that the council is aware of and one that does have to be addressed. Doing nothing is not an option. And I do have to stress that point in terms of the background of this report. Doing nothing is not an option for the council without giving rise to significant financial exposure to the equal pay claims. The previous report on this issue, as reported to Council on the 21st of June, set out an offer that was the result of an extensive piece of work undertaken by the Council in reviewing the roles and responsibilities of teaching assistants in County Durham. I think it's important you reflect on the amount of work that went into this review. The work involved the recognised trade unions, teaching assistants and head teachers in developing new job roles that take account of the work that is undertaken in our schools. We listened to what teaching assistants and head teachers told us about the roles in schools, and I do not believe a more thorough job could have been done. The outcome of this work formed the basis of the offer that was agreed by Council on the 21st of June, and which demonstrated a significantly different position in terms of the impact on our teaching assistants. The remaining elements of the offer agreed on the 21st of June are set out in paragraph 5, and the report also sets out that Council approved the unconditional withdrawal of the notices of dismissal and re-engagement. All teaching assistants were written to confirming the withdrawal of these notices. The offer agreed on the 21st of June was considered to have delivered an outcome that fully met the agreed review of the roles and responsibilities that commenced in December 2016. As set out at paragraph 8 in the report, Unison put the June offer to their members on the 10th of July, however, the offer was rejected. Unedited and GMB have accepted the offer. And if I can now bring us up to speed with current day and what's happened since the notification of that ballot outcome. Further discussions have continued to take place with the recognised trade unions, which has resulted in the additional items set out in paragraph 10 of this report. It is important to set out, however, that the new job roles and responsibilities arising from the review remains a key element of the overall final offer and reflects the significant work that was undertaken during that review. Unison have confirmed they will put this offer, which, given the significant work undertaken and position now reached, is considered to be a final offer to their members. The following aspects are recommended to be added to the offer made on the 21st of June 2017 and are set out in paragraph 10 of the report. If I can just cover these in some more detail, Chair. Firstly, the establishment of a Teaching Assistant Career Progression Board. We are proposing that this board will be made up of representatives from the Council, recognised trade unions, teaching assistants and head teachers, in a similar vein to the work undertaken to do the review. Whilst the board will consider all of the teaching assistant workforce, it is anticipated that it will initially focus on those teaching assistants that may face financial reduction after the 2-year compensation period, and will consider options for progression and development which will provide further opportunity to mitigate loss. This is a significant commitment that places teaching assistants as the first group of council staff to be involved in this element of workforce development. We will monitor the impact of this work on the teaching assistants that could be financially disadvantaged after the compensation period. This progression board, if agreed, will also facilitate a structured training programme being developed and will provide a forum for discussing professional development opportunities for teaching assistants. The establishment of this board demonstrates a clear commitment from the Council to continue the work of teaching assistants and the recognised trade unions to consider their training and progression needs through an established forum. The other elements of the final offer, Chair, if this offer is accepted, we are proposing an implementation date of the 1st of January 2018 with a 2-year compensation period. No teaching assistant will therefore see a reduction in pay until this period and has not seen a reduction in pay since this dispute began in 2015, if they worked 37 hours before January 2020. The delayed implementation and 2-year compensation period, together with the Progression Board, demonstrate a clear commitment to mitigate the financial impact on teaching assistants and to continue to work with them and the recognised trade unions into the future. We have also agreed to clarify the requirements of the new job descriptions, particularly in relation to classroom cover. The new job roles do not require teaching assistants to teach classes, and further guidance will be issued to confirm the expectations of each grade within the new grading structure, and will be very clear in that guidance around the requirements of those job roles in relation to classroom cover as opposed to teaching. We will also provide guidance to head teachers on flexibility over the application of new contracts to take account of the work teaching assistants undertake for their schools. And we'll issue that guidance to head teachers if this is agreed. I have set out the position related to compensation and the approach we will take to seek to further mitigate potential losses. However, as set out in the report, this final offer will see the majority of teaching assistants receiving an increase in pay at the end of the 2-year compensation period. In closing, I would remind all members of the Council that Unison have stated their desire to put this final offer to their members, and if agreed, the recommendations give me approval to move forward on that basis. In closing, Chairman, this has not been an easy negotiation for anyone involved. I would like to place on record my thanks to my staff in education services, and the head teachers and teaching assistants that were instrumental in developing the new job roles and developing the final offer that is presented for approval today. The outcome of this work can be seen by referencing the table at the bottom of Appendix 2, where there is a significant positive shift in the financial position following all of the work that's been undertaken. The recommendations are set out in paragraph 16.
Thank you, Sean. Can I have a move for the report, please?
Chair, I'd like to move this report. Thank you, Chair. In moving this report, I would like to clarify just what we as councillors are actually being asked to do today. Chair, councillors are not being asked to agree and then implement this revised offer. Councillors are not being asked to go out to every school to consult with teaching assistants about the revised offer. We are not being asked to discredit and discount over 2 years of hard work, discussion, negotiation and consultation by the recognised trade unions and officers of Durham County Council. And councillors are definitely not being asked to agree to the first council in the North East to walk away from agreed-up national agreements and enter into formal negotiations with anyone that the recognised trade unions who rightfully represent their members. Councillors should not forget 83% of the current workforce at Durham County Council are already working to the terms and conditions being proposed for teaching assistants, and they cannot ignore the fact that these proposals are all about fairness, equality across the whole workforce. However, Chair, councillors are being asked to agree that these revised proposals go out to consultation, which will be undertaken by the recognised trade unions. Councillors are being requested by the recognised trade unions to allow the consultation process to commence without delay, and councillors are being asked to agree with the proposal that could see Durham County Council become the first local authority, probably in the country, to enable trade unions, head teachers and teaching assistants to create and establish a bespoke teaching assistant progress board and training programme. Finally, Chair, much criticism has been directed at this council about the 23% of teaching assistants who could, in 2020, be financially worse off under these proposals. There has been no recognition or reference to our commitments of mitigating any potential loss. We are continuously asked by opposition to delay the process to allow discussions to take place with the teaching assistants and alternatives looked at. Yet, in 2012, when the single status process was completed by this council, which resulted in a proportionately higher percentage of our workforce losing more than 20% of their salaries, not one word of criticism was heard from the opposition. The figures demonstrating these losses were contained within the relevant council report, and not once did they protest or object on behalf of our employees and children and young people services. Not once did they ask to see the job evaluation details for anyone with adult services. Not once did they ask the report to be delayed to allow them time to meet our affected employees in neighbourhoods to explore alternative options with them. On the contrary, Chair, the silence was deafening and the lack of interest stark. Why? Nor have we heard at any time over the last 2 years a strategy from the opposition to deal with the ever-increasing equal pay claim risk that this council is dealing with, some of which are now lodged with the tribunal. Why? As Labour councillors, we believe all our employees should be valued and treated equally. I move the report.
Thank you for that. Have a second, please.
Thank you, Chair. Council, the Corporate Director has described how far this council has come. We've discussed and we've explored many options with the recognised trade unions. That's called negotiation. The definition of negotiation is, and I quote, discussion aimed at reaching an agreement. It's what all local authorities do, and it's what all good employers do. This council has addressed all of the issues Unison has brought to the table, and we've gone even further. Along with the review of terms and conditions and compensation package, we are proposing the establishment of a career progression board, I believe the first of its kind in this country. And for those who might dismissively think this is nothing much, let me tell you, it is what the national voice of teaching assistants has been asking for years. I was a teaching assistant. I was a primary teacher and I was a primary head teacher. I was a member of the Council for Awards in Children's Care and Education for 20 years. And I was a national advisor for the standards for higher level teaching assistants. And I know at first hand how important teaching assistants are. I know how important the relationship between teachers and teaching assistants is. Together, they enhance the care and education of our children and young people. It is teamwork of the best kind. It is an extraordinary partnership. But teachers have career progression. They have opportunities. And teaching assistants do not. As the Corporate Director has said, a career progression board will focus on those teaching assistants financially disadvantaged by the review, but it will also give opportunities for all to progress in the role of teaching assistant or potentially to the role of teacher, as I did. I believe it will be a powerful recruitment incentive and will enhance the status of teaching assistants, which is hugely deserved. This is a very significant aspect of this offer, and it is a demonstration of this Council's commitment to teaching assistants. But members, we cannot lose sight of how we arrived here. This issue is about fairness and equality for all of our employees. It is about commitment
Can I remind you 30 seconds left, please.
and this is what we are voting on today. Thank you.
Does any member have any questions on the report?
Chair, I move an amendment to the motion that the motion reads, this Council refers this report and the matters contained within it to the Corporate Overview and Scrutiny Management Board of this Council for consideration. I'm disappointed by the tone of the mover of the motion, which seemed to be involved with point scoring. I move this amendment because it offers us as councillors the best hope of achieving the compromise and the consensus that we desperately need. It offers us a positive alternative to the cul-de-sac we're in danger of walking into, and doing it without adequate notice that many councillors have already complained about. We've made huge advances over the last 18 months, and I recognise that, and the advances occurred because the council, the unions, the teaching assistants and the head teachers all made strenuous efforts to engage to find a way forward. But we aren't there yet, and we risk throwing away what has been achieved by passing this recommendation today. Effectively, this is a gamble on rerunning yesterday's ballot in the hope of a different result. And we have no reason, we've given no good reasons to expect a different result. So why does referral to scrutiny offer a realistic way forward? Firstly, it takes the issue out of the partisan atmosphere of this council chamber and puts it in the more rigorous and analytical approach to scrutiny. Scrutiny is the place where we can ask and have answered the questions that are being put to us. We have been given a little bit of guidance this morning, but yesterday when I asked about this career progression board, I was told there was no information. So we need to understand it, we need to know whether it's really a bit of fluff or whether a body that teaching assistants can have confidence in. We need to know how we've arrived at the situation where teaching assistants teaching special needs children get different rates of pay depending on whether they're in mainstream schools or in special schools. Is that right? Is it necessary? We understand there can't be a regrading exercise where no one is disadvantaged. But why are few people being so heavily disadvantaged? Can that degree of disadvantage be avoided? If not, how can it be mitigated? Now, I'm very pleased to hear that that's being talked about now in the progression board, but it's not good enough for us to hear it on the day, on the hoof. These questions can't be answered on the hoof. So, what I would say to this is, we can't change everyone's mind with compromise and with reason, but what's the alternative? We're not going to change anyone's mind by simply passing this recommendation in today's report. And if we don't change anyone's mind, we will simply damage our schools, our children's future, and the lives of too many teaching assistants. I urge you to refer this to scrutiny.
Can we second it, please?
Yes. Chair, can I second it and reserve the right to come back, please? So just to clarify the procedure now that we've received an amendment which has been moved and seconded, the amendment will be shown on the screen and therefore the debate now moves to the amendment. I'd remind members that only one amendment at a time can be dealt with, so no further amendment can be moved until this one has been voted on. Members may speak once on the debate, and Councillor Jane Brown, who is the mover of the original motion, has a right of reply immediately before the vote on the amendments.
Chairman, can I ask for a game vote, please? On the amendment.
We can deal with the named vote. We do have people listed to speak on the amendments, and a named vote will require 10 members.
Councillor Lockwood, please.
Thank you, Chairman. As Chairman of the Management Board, I would suggest that it isn't appropriate at this stage to refer this matter to the overview of the Security Management Board. Councillor Jane Brown and Councillor Allwood have already highlighted the status of the process up to this point. We've already set out the role of members up to this point as well. I also note that, most importantly, the process isn't yet completed. But for those factors combined, I would recommend that we don't take this to the Security Management Board, and I would urge members to vote against the amendment.
Councillor Paul Howell.
Thank you, Chair. I was going to discuss earlier on about the points that were raised from the front bench there, but from the Conservative group, we've got concerns, as you same as last time, about the delay in the information that's being given. And I've got a number of questions I was going to raise, but I think in summary, it comes straight down to my last paragraph, which is about, I was going to propose that the next iteration we go through here actually involves a cross-party sort of information, so that we actually have a discussion about the details, because I really do understand that you must be doing a very significant amount of complex work, and it would be really nice for us to feed that back into our own groups with a full understanding, instead of just having to take it as a last-minute piece of information that's there. This issue is one that I certainly, and I expect others, are receiving most correspondence regarding, and I think it's inappropriate for us to be asked to support that without full information.
Councillor Watson.
Thanks, Chair. I don't think we're that far away, Chair, from reaching a settlement, and I don't criticise the controlling Labour Party for what they've said and what they've proposed. But I sincerely believe, Chair, that at this point in time, it would be folly for councillors to agree the proposal as a final offer, but we know fine well that it is likely to be refused. We all know full well that little has changed, no matter how this offer is dressed up. It means more hours for less pay to a significant number of teacher assistants. There are two questions which need answering, Chair. How will this progression board, which includes a training programme, will mitigate the loss of over 20% still facing a pay cut? And two, why TAs in County Durham, who are not employed as HLTAs, are expected to teach whole classes, when elsewhere in the county, only HLTAs are expected to carry out this specified work. This is from members of the TA, not union representatives. And surely it would be better to defer taking a decision today, so that meaningful discussion can take place in order to reach an amicable agreement for all. Not to defer and have these proposals agreed today, to my mind, would be seeking confrontation, which will cause more distress and suffering for not just our TAs, but also our children. Chair, clarity is needed, not confrontation.
Councillor Madison.
Thank you, Chair. The TA proposal have been presented to us with no detail behind the various proposals, and I listened to what the officer says, that up until yesterday evening there was negotiations still taking place, and obviously it would have been nice to have had something in writing with regard to any extra information that's been discussed in the interim. It almost seems to me like asking us to sign a blank cheque before the deal has been struck. The council is asking us to approve the process to start negotiations, that a number of questions being asked for which we do not have information. It would be far better that we defer the process until meetings have been held with the various bodies and their representatives to ensure that all issues have been addressed. However, I do support the motion that's been presented to take this to one of our own committees for further discussion to allow members to have further input. There are a lot of questions that I have within this report that I would have liked to have had answers to. I have had information from TAs that there are some who are actually now working to the top of their job role, the top of their grade, have 20 to 30 years of experience. What consideration has been given to this experience, and what training job opportunities will be offered to those at the top of the grades to ensure career progression? That is something, you know, that really, if there'd been more discussion, we could have had that information presented to us. I would like to also ask if it's the head teachers that have to manage the process through their individual school budgets. If the school budgets determine that extra payments are required, can these be accommodated by the schools themselves, and will there be some support if there can't be? Will individual TAs whose grades and job roles have been changed as part of the new system be able to appeal the grade? I haven't got that answer and would like it. There is a mention within the report with regard to the local government pension scheme. I would like further expansion on that and really to ask some questions. Obviously, that now isn't being facilitated.
Ask the corporate director responsible for the please.
Yeah, can I sort of in reverse order, and then Margaret will pick up on the sort of education issue. In terms of the pension scheme issue, that is set out in the quality impact assessment just in terms of some of the options, but there are some options there for teaching assistants, as there are with all our staff, to look back over the last 10 years in terms of their sort of highest year in terms of earners. So there are some opportunities in there that will be included in the Q&A documentation. There's a question about the appeal. Is there an appeal process? Yes, there is. So the teaching assistant isn't happy, as with the rest of our staff across the council, there's an appeal process through their school to address that issue and to raise that issue. And in terms of school budgets, I was clear with the last meeting around, we're trying to deal with a specific issue here in terms of terms and conditions, and we cannot be led, however difficult this might be, by school budgets. We've got to address the risk of illegal pay claims and the issues we're talking about around teaching assistants, terms and conditions. However, overall, over a 3-year period, it's broadly cost neutral on school budgets, just to answer the question. And again, going back to the beginning of the question, I did try to set out, we were talking really late last night with the trade union to finalise some of the more detailed documentation. When I presented the report, some more detail in terms of what this offer includes. But fundamentally, it comes back to the fact, for me, that Unison have asked us to allow them to go off the ballot on this offer, and that's what sits behind the recommendations in the report. I'll ask Margaret to pick up on the educational issues.
In response to the Progression Board and the TA's expectation of teaching, can I be absolutely clear that the job roles do not expect teaching assistants to teach within their role? The terms of class cover are actually set out in the Education Act 2002 that provides that teaching assistants may carry out specified work. That specified work is about planning, preparing lessons and course for pupils. It's about delivering lessons to pupils. It's about assessing the development, progress and attainment of pupils and reporting on the development, progress and attainment of pupils. In mainstream schools, the new job roles include the following and are graded accordingly. So the entry-level teaching assistant grade 2, this role is not required to provide any class cover or any parts of that specified work. The teaching assistant grade 3, this role can cover a class, but on an unexpected and non-timetable basis. It's anticipated that this will only be on a rare occasion and where the head teacher can show evidence that the teaching assistant has sufficient skills, expertise and experience. For example, they may be doing that as part of their professional development work, as part of a planned career progression, and the teaching assistant has agreed to do it. The enhanced teaching assistant grade 5, this role can cover whole classes on a timetable basis, but not the planning of lessons or the assessing and reporting of development of a whole class. An enhanced teaching assistant, however, carry out planning, preparation, assessing and reporting of the specified work for smaller groups or individual pupils as agreed with the teacher, and it is in line with the NJC Teaching Assistant Level 4 Model Role Profile. The higher level teaching assistant grade 7, this role can undertake all elements of specified work. The head teacher has responsibility to ensure that teaching assistants have the skills, experience and expertise required to carry out such specified work. Additionally, the head teacher will determine a system of direction and supervision by a qualified teacher. It should be noted that the primary focus of the teaching assistant is to undertake specified work under the overall direction and supervision of a qualified teacher. Whilst teaching assistants provide valuable support to both teachers and pupils, teaching is not part of the role, and that's very much set out in the guidance. The advice will go to head teachers. It will be set out for TAs as well, and these are new roles, new grading structure, and clarifies each of the grades. If you could just also respond in relation to if you're at the top of the grade and the value of the progression board. Our thinking is that teaching assistants are very well qualified, experienced and trained. When by the time they become that higher level teaching assistants, these are people that we would like to smooth into the teaching profession and encourage to take further training. The career board would actually help us to be able to give further opportunity of that group to perhaps consider a future career path. Thank you.
Councillor Gould.
I just want to focus on this issue around teaching assistants being required to teach. The corporate director has explained the situation in great detail. She has given all of the information about all of the levels. Teaching assistants are not required to teach. I want to underline that. I want to try and bust this myth for once and for all, because this is very unhelpful in trying to reach agreements with the unions and with teaching assistants themselves. There are some crossovers. I talked earlier about the relationship, the very special relationship between teachers and teaching assistants. I've been there, I've done it. I know that you need that special relationship. Now, some people might, and I know that some people have, said, oh, it's all semantics. This is all semantics. It is not semantics. Those words are there for a very special reason. You need to have qualified teacher status in order to teach. That's a fact. That is what happens throughout this country. That is what happens throughout County Durham. And that will be what continues to happen throughout County Durham. So let's not keep saying that teaching assistants are being required to teach. They are not being required to teach. I'm not going to say anymore. I think there are other people who may cover the other issues, but that one for me, which has already hit the press, is so unhelpful to the resolution of what we're trying to do here. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. The very reason for wanting to refer this is it's not completed scrutiny. Scrutiny has much more, a much bigger role than being reactive. It should be proactive, and we should be looking at this before it goes to completion with some recommendations. I'm really glad that the corporate director has stood there today and told us about the job descriptions. The question that I asked at the last council meeting too, Councillor Brown, and was told to mind my own business, it had nothing to do with me what the job descriptions were. Yet we're being asked to vote on something. We're being inundated with emails from teaching assistants telling us that they're teaching, telling us that this new job description, whether it's right or wrong. But when we talk about silence, what we get from that side is silence with regards to participation in this event. We speak and we hit deaf ears. We put proposals for the last 2 years to come to an agreement with the end of this, some of which are included in here, and every time it's like hitting a brick wall. Why is it hitting a brick wall? Because it's come from the opposition. The very words that we heard within the first couple of years of this council from that front bench was don't put a motion because you know it won't be accepted because it's come from you. And that's what we say. We want to be participating in this. We want to come to an agreement. These TAs are our residents in the same way as they're yours, and it's helping nobody to carry on like this. So please, let it go to scrutiny, let us all have an input, and then we can get something that people will agree to.
It's all just been said.
No one has been registered to speak on now, therefore, can Councillor vote down this one?
Thank you.
Chairman, ask for the name vote, please. I ask the name of the response.
We'll allow Councillor Brown to reply, and then we can come on to 10 members for the name vote. So when we go to the vote, it will be a name vote.
Thank you, Chair. Councillor Cruz has rightly said that this process is not complete. To delay it is going against everything the trade unions have requested us to do. I think we should not lose sight that the workplace representatives of teaching assistants are the trade unions, and they should be allowed to fulfil their role with their members. I urge members of this council to vote against this amendment and allow the trade unions to go out to schools, talk to their members, address their concerns and put out proposals to them. The trade unions are the negotiating body. I ask everyone to vote against this amendment.
Okay, so we're going to move into a named vote. If members could wait until the buzzer goes before they cast their vote. We're voting in favour or against or abstaining on the amendment which is on the screen there. So if you're voting in favour of the amendment, please press 1. Against the amendment, press 2. And for members wishing to abstain from the vote, please press 3. If anyone has accidentally voted the wrong way or wishes to change their vote, all you have to do is press 1, 2 or 3 to register your new vote and nothing else. And the chair will announce when we're going to close the vote.
It's great to leave, it always comes on.
We're not close.
And you let it as well. We prefer That's the original motion. Councillor Keith Hopper. Accident. It's a deal on this. If not, we move to the vote.
We have. It's on the board.
Thank you, Chair. Can I finish off, please, by thanking those members who voted against this amendment, in effect, voting against to recognise our trade union colleagues. Move to the vote, Chair.
Chairman, can I again have a minute vote, please? We'll all stand up.
Okay, just to recap on the procedure again, if you can wait for the buzzer to sound. Those in favour of the motion this time, please press 1. Those against, please press 2. Any members wishing to abstain, it's 3. Again, anyone who's accidentally voted can change their votes by pressing 1, 2 and 3 to register your new votes, and we'll confirm when the votes close.
2.
Right, we'll close the vote now. Vote 54 against 38, abstain 1. Motion is carried.